Forward Best Music Coach, my name is Dan, and you are watching a music teacher's reaction live and in real time to Final Fantasy VII Final Fantasy. There we go. Got it. 7 original soundtrack. I've never heard this before, not once ever in my life. I've never heard this music, so I'm going to be listening to it in real time on this live stream with you and giving my thoughts and reactions as we go along without any preparation ahead of time. You'll see there's a pinned comment in the chat over there with a list of upcoming and future reactions, which you can actually upvote using Super Chats. Let's get this thing started, rocking and rolling. If you do want to upvote with the Super Chat, make sure you include the title of the game that you want to upvote. We're going to start with The Prelude. Beautiful arpeggio. I love the filter on it too, that those higher notes have that little cascading thing that happens off them that the lower notes don't happen. It doesn't happen the same way on the lower notes. I'm working on my English today, guys, bear with me. If this is your first time on one of these streams or watching one of my videos, welcome. I'm going to listen through each track and give you some thoughts afterwards, and as I listen to more, hopefully I'll be able to start pointing out some connections that I'm hearing in real time as we go along. Well, that was beautiful, a great start. Obviously, I'm not going to have too much to say because that's just the first tune, composition, song that I've listened to, but I do have a shout out and a thank you to Rubberman202, who super chatted and said, Nobuo Uematsu is a composing legend. Agreed. I've even heard of him before I checked out this soundtrack. Also, another upvote for Mother 1, Earthbound Beginnings. You got it, Rubberman. We're going to add that super chat to upvote Mother 1. Okay, this next one is called Ōpuningu Bakuha Misshon. That was really cool. Thing in the right ear there. All right. Okay, something that I think was really cool about this. Okay, I'm going to use the word song, tune, and composition interchangeably. Roll with me, even though song technically you could say needs lyrics. But anyway, what was really cool about this is the way it started off. I did not at all see that second tempo coming in. It was a change in meter, a change in tempo. Really, really cool there. And a shout out and a thank you to the Scientician, who says, happy to catch the live today. Well, welcome, Scientician, and also says, this game is phenomenal and the OST is top tier. Fully agreed so far. High quality, no doubt. I like to put this towards Ocarina of Time. You got it, Scientician, and a shout out and thank you to Bex Lizard. Bex says, Final Fantasy VII is legend. Very geeked for this. Please put this towards Chrono Trigger, the other best RPG of all time. You got it, Bex Lizard. And Alessandro Coelho AC says, once again, I shall boost the glorious OST known as Metal Gear. You got it, Alessandro. Thank you all so much for your supports. Thank you. Well, support. Thank you for your super chats. Finally, I got my plurals correct there. Okay, this one is called Mako Reactor. You know, I'm hearing some connections to one of my favorite games of all time, A Link to the Past. Obviously not now. Now you hear that little something going, boing, boing. That right there, Toby Fox uses that same synth a lot in Undertale. That same sound. So what's interesting is all the chords that are happening here, all the melodies that are happening, underneath all of it, we hear that one low note, and it's the same low note the whole way through. See? It's the same low note through the whole song, and that low note is a C note. And all the other chords are going up and down over the C note, and the C note gives all those... oh, well, changing there. Now going to a G, so essentially like the dominant. Still on G here. But the point is that you have one note in the bass, the lowest note, for a long period of time, and then everything on top of that gets its context. Well, now to B flat. I said it was C the whole time, and now we're changing notes. But anyway, my point still remains the same, and I'm going to break this down a little more after the song. Now back to C. Okay, so this is what I mean by the low note defines what's going on. And this is kind of an interesting rule. So a lot of times people who play the bass will make the joke that they actually have the most power out of anyone in a band. And here's why. I'm actually going to play it for you on the piano instead of on the guitar, because it's going to be even more obvious. Okay, so what I'm going to do is with my right hand, I'm going to play a C major triad. So I'm just going to play 3 notes, C, E, and G. Great. Now what I'm going to do with my left hand is I'm going to put a low C note underneath all of those. It's really just going to reinforce the whole sound, make sure it sounds like a C major. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the lowest note. I'm going to keep the top 3 notes the same, and I'm just going to change the bottom note. Doesn't that sound totally different? All right, so here again, the same top 3 notes. I'm just going to change the bottom note. Totally different. So the bottom note actually is going to define how the chords on top or how the notes on top sound. So when you have a composition like this and there's one note underneath and there's a lot of different chords happening on top of it, that low note is giving a context and actually shaping how we perceive and how we think about those chords that are happening above. So that's an interesting little thing. And the reason why we find these lower sounds to be more important is perhaps a quirk of biology, but not really sure. But we do perceive lower sounds as being more important and more impactful for whatever reason. A shout out and thank you to BMO McGrim, who says, hey, huge fan of yours. Well, thank you, BMO. Final Fantasy VII OST is one of my favorites. Please put this to my favorite and first Final Fantasy VIII. You got it, BMO. And a shout out and thank you to Ioji, who says, near replicant, please, Dan. Oh, you've got it. My favorite game, and another for Chrono Trigger. Also happy you enjoy the Final Fantasy VII soundtrack. It's really great. Well, you got it. We will for sure split that between Chrono and whatever other one. Near replicant. All right. Anyway, brain freeze. Okay, this next one is called Anxiety, which is what I just had when I couldn't remember the name of the second OST. Ooh, interesting. So even here, it's like playing around with different C chords, which is sort of the inverse of what we had before. We had one note, different chords on top of it, and this was one chord or one root note, and then changing the exact type of chord, a parallel comparison between different chords. So interesting that we're hearing now these arpeggios, sort of like we heard, and I'm not saying arpeggios are so unique that we can say, oh, well, we heard arpeggios in the Prelude, now we're hearing them here. Oh, beautiful. You know, Snow, it's been so long since I played RuneScape, I don't even remember what the music sounds like. Now we're back to sort of where we started. Huh. An interesting way of ending it with that F to D movement that we had throughout the rest of the song. Okay, shout out and a thank you to Kona Sophia, who says, hey, I'm really excited you're doing Final Fantasy VII. It's a classic. Please consider a really unusual request. Series called Xenosaga. That's beautiful. Well, Kona, we're going to add that to the list, and we will use your super chat as an upvote. Also, shout out and thank you to Otter Gamer. Then for another Risk of Rain. Oh, you got it. Not very familiar with the Final Fantasy soundtracks. This is a new one to me. Well, that makes two of us, Otter Gamer. Hope you enjoy the ride. And a shout out to I3 Laid Dragon, who said, saw it made in Abyss in your list. Ooh, felt compelled to bump it up. Love your reactions. Keep up the good work. Well, you got it. And we will for sure bump that up after the stream with your super chat. So I think what's interesting so far is, you know, there isn't any immediate connection other than you can hear that it's clearly one composer. You can clearly hear that there's a direction and a creative consciousness in terms of the artistic decisions that are being made. Like if you played all four of those tracks for me and said those are by four different people, I'd be like, yeah, okay, but they sound a little similar. That can also come down to how it's mixed and mastered. But I think there's you can start to see someone in their work, and I think perhaps we're starting to see the composer here. This next one is called Tifa's Theme. Shout out to the Tree of Life, Yggdrasil, who is in the chat. That was interesting too, is the last tune was like, oh, beautiful. Last tune had F minors in it. Whether that last tune was in the key of F minor Not entirely sure. I'd have to go back and listen to it. But here we are in F major, so I think even changing from anxiety to Tifa's theme. Ooh. That was a fun 5 of 5 there. And not even going to 5 for a resolution, just using the 5 of 5 to go back to 1. I think what's also interesting too is this chord progression is based off of 1 to 4, but instead of 4 being major, how it would normally be if we harmonized an F major scale, it's actually minor. And again, using the 5 of 5 without actually going to the dominant there to bring us back home. And I'll explain what I mean by the 5 of 5 after this. Okay, so in addition to there being a really interesting chord progression there, Tails in the Sky for Bob, you got that. Tails in the Sky, just written that down. I think what's really interesting here too is the mix is so clean and clear. There's not a lot going on. Everything is super, super effective. There's not a lot of fluff. There's no extraneous things going on. It seems that every element that's being presented in the arrangement has a purpose and is actually fulfilling a function and is doing something. This next one is called Barret's theme or Barret's theme. I'm not sure how European we're going with our... F major again. And then going to E flat. So I think what's interesting... Oh, I was going to explain the 5 of 5. I knew I was missing something. Get that. I'll explain 5 of 5 after this one. Now going to 4, but it's dominant. So yeah, it's like almost like a blues. That was an interesting chordal journey. The minor major 7 chord there. And now we're back to F. So it's following the same pattern every time around. As we're like on one chord, down a whole step, and back. And we're going down a whole step, or major second. And like keeping the chord major. Except here now we're going in G minor. Going to A minor now? Yep. Ending on that minor major 7. Okay, a couple shout outs and thank you, and then I am actually going to explain what I mean by 5 of 5. Bob Kyle, saw your super chat. We'll get you all sorted out. Thanks for the clarity there. Shout out and thank you to Hadi Surya. Welcome to the Kazoo Club. And Bob Kyle says YouTube didn't like me, but we like YouTube. Love your insight. Recommend Trails in the Sky, 2nd chapter. You got it. And also a shout out and thank you to Eric, who says, this means so much to me. Thank you for doing this for others. I learned music theory through this OST. And Others by Nobuo. That's so cool. The melodies, harmonies, and rhythms stay in your soul, and the theory explores our minds. Wow, that's awesome. Well, thank you all so much for your support. Thank you for your super chat, and welcome to new members. Okay, so I said I was going to explain to you what I mean by 5 of 5. Okay, so we're in the key of F. Now, we can think of music as using the regular alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but instead of starting on A, we can start on any of the letters. And here's the thing, too. After G, we don't go to H, or whatever comes after G in the alphabet. We go back to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Oh, yeah, it was H. Okay, great. So after G, we go back to A. So we say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and it just goes round and round and round, round like that. Now, if we think about it that way, let's say F. We're going to think of F as 1. So we're going to go F, G, A, B, C. That's 5. Okay, so F, G, A, B, C. F is 1, C would be 5. Now, we're going to think of what's the 5 of 5. So we have F, G, A, B, C. C is the 5 of F. The 5 of C, now let's pretend C is 1. C, D, E, F, G. So G is the 5 of 5 for F. So it's like you're working backwards with these music theory connections. Okay, let's keep this rocking and rolling. And obviously that's not getting into the chord quality and all that good stuff, but that's just to understand the relationship of what I mean by the 5 of 5 is we're saying that, okay, and yeah, okay, well, you may be wondering, well, Dan, you just said G was 2 of F, right? So we have F, G, A, B, C. So why are we going the extra step further to call G the 5 of 5 of C? And that has to do with the quality of the chord. So I'm going to explain this. So chord quality means how the chord sounds. So for example, you hear this chord right here. This is a major chord. We can think of this chord as being happy. It can be vanilla. And then this chord right here is a minor chord. It sounds like sad, thoughtful, kind of like a rainy autumn day in the northeastern United States. So, chord quality. And the difference is that the chord quality when G is 2 of F is minor, and the chord quality when G is the 5 of C is major or dominant. Not to get into super far into the music theory weeds there, but that's why we need to call it the 5 of 5 and not just the 2 of F. Okay, this next one is called Hurry, which is what all of you were saying while I was giving that lengthy music theory explanation. So again, love for F. Now going up. You can see here too, we have one note on the bottom, then changing chords over that. Listen to the pan on that little thing. So much F because Final Fantasy? I don't know. I think it was all originally in Japanese. You're up a half step. So, we are starting to hear some connections. And please forgive me because I'm not going to remember the names of the songs. But the same way there's this, in part of the song, right here. Just one note. And then everything's happening over that note. So this is a compositional technique. This is not something that is necessarily unique to Nobuo, but the way that he's using it is very interesting. And when I say it's not unique to him, that's not to like take anything away from him or give him anything. That's just saying that it's a technique, it's a tool. It's like saying you have a contractor show up to work on your house. Most of them are going to have a hammer. Now, whether they choose to use a hammer for a particular job, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's very interesting that he used a hammer for both those jobs. The technique is the way you do something, so it's interesting that this particular way of creating music, for example, using a hammer, was used in both tunes. Okay, this next song is called Lurking in the Darkness, which is funny because when you're in the darkness, you're not lurking at anything. Oh, come on, bass. All right, come on now. Okay, well, that was interesting. I think also interesting too, as Sparks also mentioned in the chat, that hi-hat pattern. So basically the only percussion instrument we heard in that was a hi-hat. Very interesting that that's the only drum throughout the entire piece. This next one is called Shrina or Shrina Inc. It was an open and a closed hi-hat. It was open and closed. Shinra. Your one note chords changing above it. Just a B flat underneath it, all the chords changing on top of it. I think the way the drums are mixed are interesting too. I mean, that clap just in your right ear. Huh, I wonder if it's about to loop now. Yes, I fully agreed with you, Dragon. It does have it has a touch of that Queen to it, doesn't it? So it doesn't have the full beat of We Will Rock You, to be clear. The first half of the drums is the same beat as We Will Rock You. That right there, that was not. So boom, boom, ka, boom, boom, ka. See that second? Here's part two, doom, doom, ka. Well, yeah, there was that small snare hit in there, but. This next one is called Let the Battles Begin. Back to F again. This really does remind me of A Link to the Past. Oh, and when you have a little... Oh, again. Again on left ear. Huh. Interesting. So this is a great rock progression. Very interesting sound going on there. It sounds like there's some sort of impact and a lot of reverb after it. Not really sure what to make of that sound or what made it a wild thing. This next one is called Fanfare. Oh, this is beautiful. Oh my gosh, that was so good. I love that. This next one is called Flowers Blooming in the Church. If you're just joining us now, welcome. My name's Dan. I'm a music teacher. I'm reacting to this for the first time. I've never ever heard this music before, so I'm reacting in real time on this live stream to the Final Fantasy VII original soundtrack. We're doing disc 1 today from the soundtrack, and we will be doing disc 2 next week, along with disc 3 and 4. This next one is called Flowers Blooming in the Church. Huh, that's what that last one was. So I think what's interesting too is here how it's like using underneath it. If we look at the fundamental of what's being expressed harmonically, it's like a relatively simple chord progression. But the way these chords are voiced and the non-chord tones from the triad, and again, a non-chord tone would technically be a melody term, but I think you understand what I'm saying, that the add notes in the chord, beautiful, so tasteful, not something you hear every day. Like this is like an add 2 or an add 9 here. Well, now it's changing up. Sometimes, by the way, this is your first stream, I'll think I've have something figured out halfway through a song, and then the second half of the song proves me wrong. It does happen, because I've never heard this before. This next one is called Turk's Theme. Welcome, new member Ben. Okay, come on now. All right, going to 4. Love it. Oh, please bring that riff back. This is so cool. And the way the percussion is grooving, like over here, perfection. That was a ton of fun. Sort of bluesy thing there. This next one is called Under the Rotting Pizza. Under the Rotting Pizza. Okay, come on now. Oh, love it. Oh, the groove. Honestly, for what is this, 1997? Yeah, this is some prog stuff, man. Not prog as in the time signature's funky. Just the way it's being approached. It's really cool. This next one is called The Oppressed. Well, this is different. Oh gosh, this is so weird. Oh gosh, that was wild. Okay. What? Okay, why my brain short circuiting is those chords. Maybe I'm hearing them wrong, but it sounded like they were a half step flat from where they are supposed to be to agree with the key of the music. It might have just been me, but that sounded... Or maybe not a half step low. Anyway, yeah. Maybe that's just my ear not hearing it right, but that was wild. This next one is called Honeybee Inn. Yeah, whimsical's a good word, Zenju. Hoi, I'm Tēma. Beautiful. Oh. Kitzuku says the reason it reminds me, or us, of A Link to the Past is because the SNES and the PlayStation 1 share similar sound chip. Thus, sequence music uses the same samples. Interesting. Wop bum. Wop bum. Yeah. That was wild. Okay, that was, yeah, I've never heard anything like that before in my life. I mean, I've heard things like it, but that was original. By the way, if you want to know the top 10 things I think every gamer should know about music theory, I just popped a link in the chat. You can go click on that and check that out. It's a free download. This next one is called Who Are You? Who Won't you tell me who... Oh, no, that's the wrong one. This one is just called Who Are You? So, what's making this sound so weird is that there's multiple instances of the same sound and they're slightly out of tune with each other. And that out of tuneness between those different pitches is what makes it sound the way it does. Okay, this next one is called Dawn of the Slums. The day will come. Perhaps the day will never come, and I will call upon you. Snow says I don't remember a cognitive behavioral therapy scene in this game. That's pretty funny, Snow. Alright, this next one is called Infiltrating Shinra. Oh. Huh. Just like walking up hole steps, man. Oh, I did not see the drums coming in how they're coming in. This is really cool. This is exciting. See, I didn't even think of this as being compound. Huh. going down in whole steps using minor chords. Well, that right there was jumping down a minor third. Ah. And then going down a fourth. Interesting. And round we go. So we started on E minor. Excuse me, on D. Yeah, we did E, then D. Then C, then A minor. Now back to E. So we're going backwards down the musical alphabet. Remember we talked about how the alphabet is A, B, C, D, F, G. We can go backwards. G, F, E, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. Welcome, Sparks. Sparks and all our new members on this stream, look out for the post. It's going to go out on the 1st. That's in 3 or 4 days. That's how you're going to do your member vote. Oh, maybe not whole steps. Maybe I called that wrong. Oh, there's a whole steps at the end for sure. Okay. This next one is called Fight On. Actually, before we do... Oh, never mind. This is very Metallica. What's the song I'm thinking of? Oh gosh. Maybe Don't Tread on Me? By Metallica? For Whom the Bell Tolls. Thank you, Killer King. And then it's like a Doors solo. Love those arpeggios. Very interesting to bring that A major in there. So it's like, it sort of reminds me of Metallica, but it also gets a little like Yngwie. Well, I really enjoyed that one. All right, we have 3 more songs for today and 1 bonus one if we have time, but we may have to push that to the next one. This next one is called Red 13's Theme. Get like a sort of bluesy thing. Well, that was really cool and interesting. The drums and the percussion were very interesting too. Almost, yeah, chat was saying tribal. Yeah, I'm not sure what the correct term to use to not get in trouble in 2022 is, but yeah, tribal. The Chase is next. And a shout out and a thank you to Weirdness Unfolds, who says another addition to the Ace Combat 7. And yep, Nubo is almost the Bach of video game music. Thanks you for your support, Weirdness. And you got it. Sounded like some orchestra hits in there, or as they're called around here, big shot hits. Oh yeah. That low piano. Oh. Like someone just hitting a piece of metal. All right, before we do our last tune for today, AC, I'm going to have to get you in part 2 because I got to be somewhere at the top of the hour. Shout out and a thank you to Squiddy, who says, tested positive for COVID this morning. Uh-oh. Hope you're doing a bit better than I am on this fine Saturday, Dan. Put me down for a month or 3. You got it, Squiddy, and I hope you get better soon and feel better all kinds of fast. Wishing you a speedy recovery. Pikachu says, Pika Pika, Pika Pika Pika, Pikachu, which translated to English is, hope you're enjoying this legendary OST from Nobuo Uematsu. So far, we've only scratched the surface. Add this to Persona 5 Royal. It's way too low on the list, or Royale, I should say. Well, sure thing, will do, Pikachu. And in the words of your people, Pika Pika, Pika Pika. All right, this next one is Dear to the Heart. That kid Bobo, you have got that correct. Ending with arpeggios, just as we began Disc 1 with arpeggios. Oh, beautiful. Oh, beautiful way to end this part 1 of 4. So make sure you hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can see parts 2, 3, and 4. A couple shout outs and a couple thank yous before I do my final reaction and summary to Carlos Tavera, who says, do I deserve... Well, okay. Carlos wants to know if it's bad if he's never played it. And he also says, well, Dan... Carlos just says, well, Dan, I'm passing by at the end. I hope you enjoyed the soundtrack. Well, Carlos, I really did. Thanks for passing by. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your super chat. Sparks says, well, I like you a lot. Add Marvel vs. Capcom 2 to the list. You got it, Sparks. We're going to make that happen. And BDNZ says, could you react to Bug Fables, The Everlasting Sapling? I don't think that one was suggested yet. I think Bug Fables should be on there, and we're going to add that to it. If it's not, we're going to add it on the list. Thank you all so much for watching. Please hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Okay, my final reaction and summary is the following. This is an incredibly original soundtrack. So even though I did point out a couple of compositional techniques and tools along the way that were used that you can hear in other places, and sure, we pointed out some inspirations in different places, there's a lot of music on here that just honestly, I've never heard anything like it before, and it really is an honor and a joy to be spending so much time in music and then be able to come and hear something brand new that I've never, ever heard before. I hope you all really enjoyed this as much as I did. I just pinned a comment in the messages where you can check out the top 10 things I think every gamer should know about music theory. And I will see you all next time for part 2. I will see you then. Bye.